Now, you
will
see,
not lead us
you
to
say God is omnipotent.
Yes, He is all powerful.
No, He is all powerful.
Yes,
He can do what he pleases.
He is all powerful.
Can He do everything?
In accordance with
Can He
His
do
character.
everything?
Except lie.
Huh?
He cannot lie.
He cannot?
He cannot lie.
But now can He do anything? He can conquer people, nations.
He cannot
He can
lie.
overcome.
If he wants to.
Right. And if He fails because of your heavy armored cars and tanks, if He tells you that, look, I couldn't prevail against the Americans because of the super armaments, for example.
For example.
You see?
What? Like
He was supposed to help us, God Almighty, for example, but now God Himself, He failed to prevail against the Americans because they had laser guns and they had super tanks. Now in that case we know He is not omnipotent. And if that is the situation, that we say God is on our side and God is going to help us and God tells us, I will help you, but in the end I find God failed us. And the reason given in your book is that because the opposition had stronger armaments. Then we'll say, look, this God is not omnipotent.
God is omnipotent.
God is
Right.
omnipotent.
So now
Yes.
you have a little patience. I show you.
Please show.
I show you. Mark chapter 10 verse 27, also Matthew chapter 19 verse 26. For God, now you don't have to check because He says with God all things are possible. You must have read that before.
Oh, yes.
With God
Surely.
all things are possible.
Yes.
You don't have to go and check up now.
Yeah.
If you want to, you may.
No,
It's-
go ahead. Finish reading.
Right.
Please.
Right. So we accept that statement. We say with God all things are possible. Now, Judges chapter 1 verse 19, that you can open. This contradicts that. Book of Judges, chapter 1 verse 19. Book of Judges chapter 1 verse 19. You got it, but I see you got it pretty fast.
I'm there.
Yes, 7 days, you're pretty. Right. I would like to hear you read that.
Oh, it says, and the Lord was with Judah,
Uh-huh.
and He drave out the inhabitants of the mountains,
Uh-huh.
but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had chariots of iron.
Right. There it is. So God couldn't do it. He drove out the inhabitants of the mountains, but the inhabitants of the valley, God couldn't, because they had chariots of iron, they had armored cars, tanks. See, so then God failed. How will you explain that? Look, it's a parable. What blooming parable is that? What is the parable about that? And God failed because they had chariots. This is telling you because they had chariots of iron, they had armored cars, tanks. They had tanks. You said He can do anything, but He can't if you've got armored cars and tanks on your side. The Somalis, they can't prevail against the Americans because the Americans have got helicopter gunships. And so we can say the Lord was with the Somalis, but then the God failed. But if your book says the God failed because of the American having,
I don't read that as saying the Lord failed.
what does it say?
It says, and the Lord was with Judah.
But that means He was helping him. That means He was helping Judah.
The Lord was with Judah,
Uh-huh.
and He drave out the inhabitants of
Right,
Judah.
right.
Drave out the inhabitants
Who
of
God?
Judah.
God did all that.
Judah.
Yeah, no? And He. All right. So He was with Judah with the help of God.
And the Lord was with Judah,
Right.
and He drave out the inhabitants of the mountains. But Judah, now understand something. See, with that again, that didn't say that the Lord failed. It
The
did not say
Lord was with.
the Lord was with Judah.
Right.
Now,
The
if
Americans-
if it was not God's will for Judah to drive out the
Is that what he said?
inhabitants of
So,
with
so
the
what did
chariots
the
of
Lord
iron.
do? What did the Lord do? Did He say, tell Judah said, look man, it is not my will that you drive out the inhabitants of the valley. Did He say that?
But see,
No.
but you're using
If you Americans are with Israel, you're helping like your illegitimate son. And your illegitimate child of America, Israel, is your child, your ill-begotten son. Now you are Israel. You see, at every turn, when the Muslims, the Arabs, when they go to war against Israel, it is America who's fighting us. In 1973, when Sadat broke the Barley line, he crossed into the Sinai, 73.
Yes.
And Israel was got by its throat.
Yes.
And America came in direct intervention through the Azores with men and material in the battle. 1973. I don't know what you were doing there. Maybe schooling. 1973.
Yes, it was.
Young man.
Right, you were young boy. 1973, the American
Young for
with the Air Force
Yeah.
and all the machines and all, they got direct into the battle against the poor Arabs. And the Arabs were beaten once more again. Right. So we said, now you see that because of America, the Israelis have an upper hand upon us because of the Americans. Same thing now, you were with Israelis. But now if you fail, we say the Americans failed. The Americans failed the Jews. Because you are with them, they are like your own illegitimate son. But now once you fail, we say now the Americans failed. When Israel is defeated, we say America was defeated.
Like Vietnam.
Huh? That's
No,
it.
no.
That means now you Americans were defeated. You see, you can't say the South Vietnam.
Okay, so you're saying God failed.
Right.
Well,
So
God
if
did not.
God is with you and He helped you to defeat one, but He didn't help you to defeat the other, that means God failed you.
It may not have been His express will for that.
That's what the book says. That's what your book says.
And it says that
On the very face of it.
it says that, but could not drive out the inhabitants.
Could not drive out. Could not drive out.
Chariots of iron.
Right, because why? Because the chariots of iron.
That's
The
correct.
easy meat was easy meat for you. But if the opposition has got also the atom bomb, like the Russians, then you can't defeat them. That's what it means. Then he said, now look, God failed you. If God is with you, and if He lets you down against the Russians, then we say that God failed you. God failed you. Right.